In life, you are going to get distracted. People will talk. They will judge. They'll criticize you. They'll make assumptions about you without even knowing your story. That's just how the world works. But you don't owe them nothing. Not your energy, not your time, not even a response. See, the secret to growth, the real glow up, is silence. It's when you stop talking and start doing. It's when you stop explaining yourself to people who ain't even trying to understand you. You want to level up? Focus on yourself and hush up. Let the results do the talking. Oh, every single day you have two choices: get pulled into the noise or stay in your lane and grind. And if you're smart, you'll pick the second option every time. Because when you stay focused on your purpose, when you stay quiet and consistent, people notice. Oh, they notice. Oh, they notice. They just won't say nothing, at least not while you're in the process. But trust me, they watching. They watching your steps. They watching your progress. They watching your peace. And that peace, that comes from silence. That comes from saying, you know what? I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to prove myself. I'm not going to clap back. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to stay grounded. I'm going to let God handle the rest. You can't be chasing dreams and chasing approval at the same time. That's too much running, and it's in opposite directions. Let go of needing validation on way to the moon. Some folks ain't going to support you no matter how good you are, and that's all right. That's life. It don't mean you stop. It means you keep going, quieter, stronger, wiser. Let your silence be your strategy. Let your work speak for you. Let your growth make the noise. Now listen, this don't mean you don't speak up when it matters. This don't mean you let folks walk over you. No, it means you know what battles to fight. It means you don't waste energy on things that don't deserve it. You conserve that power. You protect your peace like it's gold, because it is like it's good. You don't have to tell people you're changing. You don't have to tell them you're healing, growing, evolving. Just do it. Show up every day, put in the work, and zip it. Silence is strength. Discipline is power. Focus is rare. But if you got it, oh, you're unstoppable. Silence is often misunderstood. In a world where everyone is shouting to be heard, where social media rewards the loudest voice and opinions fly faster than facts, silence is seen as weakness. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strength. It's maturity. It's control. It's control. When you learn to stay silent in situations where most people would react, argue, or defend themselves, you're not being passive. You're being powerful. Let's be real. Life is full of moments that tempt us to speak out. Someone talks behind your back. Someone throws shade at your progress. Someone questions your decisions, your motives, your character. And the first instinct is to clap back, to defend yourself, to make them see your side. But what does that actually do? 9 times out of 10, it drains you. It pulls you into emotional chaos. It takes your focus away from your goals and puts it on someone else's opinion. That's not power. That's distraction dressed up as pride. Silence, on the other hand, is a decision. It's saying, I'm not going to waste energy explaining myself to people committed to misunderstanding me. It's choosing peace over proving a point. And here's the thing. Silence doesn't mean you're ignoring the situation. It means you've evaluated it and realized that not every battle deserves your sword. Some things aren't worth your energy. Some people aren't worth your response. When you stay silent, you give yourself space to think. You respond instead of react. You maintain control over your emotions instead of handing the remote to someone else. You stop fueling unnecessary drama. People who know how to stay quiet in the face of noise are the ones who are most grounded. Because they know who they are. They're not out here needing validation. They don't need applause. They don't need to prove their worth to anyone. They already know. Silence is also a weapon when used wisely. People don't know what you're thinking. They can't predict your moves. You become harder to manipulate because you don't reveal everything. You're not broadcasting your plans, your goals, or your progress. You're just working quietly. And that confuses people who are used to noise. When you move in silence, you become a mystery, and mysteries are powerful Mysteries are respected. Now let's talk about results. You ever notice how loud people get when they're insecure? They're constantly talking about what they're going to do, how great they are, how others are beneath them. But the truly successful ones, the truly grounded and confident people, oh, they don't talk much. They just deliver. They walk into a room and don't have to announce their greatness. It speaks through their actions. That's what silence does. It lets the results make the noise. People don't forget success. They may overlook you when you're silent. They might underestimate you. That may sound so, but when your work starts to show, when your discipline pays off, they notice. They might not say it out loud, but they feel it. And suddenly the same people who doubted you start asking how you did it. That's the power of silence. You don't need to brag. You just build. You just grow. You just win. You just win. But it takes discipline to stay silent because we live in a reactionary world. Everything is urgent. Everything is a say something now. We're trained to think that silence means we're hiding or we're scared. But really, silence means we're focused. We're choosing where to put our energy. We're investing in ourselves instead of wasting time convincing others. Let's be honest. How many times have you tried to explain yourself to someone only to realize they weren't listening anyway? They had already made up their mind. So why do it? Why give them your energy? Why give them access to your peace? Silence is a filter. It keeps your focus clear. It keeps your path uncluttered. And on a deeper level, silence is healing. When you stop talking, you start listening, not to others, but to yourself. You get in tune with your own thoughts, your own needs, your own vision. You stop performing for the crowd and start showing up for yourself. That's where growth happens, in the quiet, in the moments no one sees, in the silence of your grind, your prayer, your preparation. Silence also teaches you humility. It reminds you that you don't have to have the last word, that sometimes saying less is saying more. That maturity is knowing you're right, but not needing to prove it. That peace is more valuable than pride. This doesn't mean you let people walk over you. This doesn't mean you stay silent in the face of injustice or abuse. No, silence when it comes from strength is a choice. It's not about fear. It's about focus. It's about protecting your purpose, not avoiding confrontation. You speak when it matters, but when it doesn't, you let it slide. That's the balance. So many of us are wasting precious time trying to be understood by people who are not ready to understand, trying to win battles that don't matter, trying to explain our journey to people who haven't walked it. It's not your job to make them see. It's your job to make them see. It's your job to keep going, to stay focused, to stay silent, and to let the success speak when the time is right. Remember, your silence is not emptiness. It's preparation. It's power. It's the calm before the storm. And when the storm of your success hits, trust me, everyone will hear it. But until then, stay quiet. Stay working. Stay powerful. Because in a world full of noise, silence is what sets you apart. Staying focused in life is one of the most difficult things to do, especially in a world designed to distract you. Everywhere you turn, there's something trying to pull your attention. Social media, other people's opinions, drama trends, expectations, fears, and even your own insecurities. But here's the truth. Focus is your superpower. When you learn to cut out the noise and lock in on your purpose, your life starts to move differently. You begin to attract clarity, peace, and progress. The reason most people don't reach their full potential isn't because they're not talented. It's not because they're not capable. It's because they're not focused, they're scattered. Their minds are everywhere except where they need to be. They're watching other people's journeys instead of walking their own. They're listening to what the world thinks they should be instead of tuning into what they're actually called to be. Focusing on yourself means making the conscious decision to stop comparing your life to others. Comparison is a thief. It steals your joy, your energy, and your time. You can't win your own race while staring at someone else's lane. Every time you measure your progress based on what someone else is doing, you slow down. Their journey is not your journey. Their pace is not your pace. And their purpose is not your purpose. Focus demands that you look inward, not outward. It's an inner discipline that requires you to check in with your goals daily, to measure your progress against your potential, not someone else's highlight reel. And it's not just about ignoring distractions around you, it's also about managing the distractions within you. Doubt, fear, overthinking, those are the internal enemies that sabotage focus. That little voice that says you're not good enough or you'll never make it is lying, and you can't afford to listen to it. Every time you feed fear, you starve focus. But every time you push through, even when it's hard, you train your mind to lock in on what really matters. When you're focused, you move different. You stop chasing temporary highs and start building lasting value. You stop responding to negativity and start pouring into your growth. Ooh. Focus sharpens your vision. It makes your steps intentional. You're not just waking up and reacting. You're waking up and executing. You're not available for nonsense. You're not interested in gossip. You're not entertaining petty distractions. You're too busy becoming the best version of yourself. And let's be real, staying focused isn't easy. It requires sacrifice. It means saying a no to things that look good so you can say yes to what's truly great. It means missing out on trends so you can tune into your own transformation. But the rewards are worth it. Focus gives you momentum. Focus gives you momentum. It gives you consistency. And consistency over time leads to mastery. That's how people break through. Not by doing a lot of things halfway, but by doing one thing with excellence. Now, here's the beautiful part about focus. It creates peace. When you're locked in on your goals, you stop worrying about things that don't concern you. You stop carrying emotional weight that doesn't belong to you. You're not triggered by everything. You're not reactive. You're calm, centered, peaceful. Peace because you know where you're going and you know what it takes to get there. And don't be surprised when people start to fall off the more focused you get. Everybody can't go where you're going. Some people were only meant to be part of your journey for a season. So when your focus increases, your circle might decrease. That's okay. That's not loss. That's alignment. You're not lonely. You're leveled up. You're leveled up. You're just making room for what actually belongs in your life. Focus is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about choosing progress over distraction every single day. Some days you'll slip, but the key is to bounce back. Real focus is resilient. It gets knocked down but refuses to stay there. Because when you know what you're fighting for, you stop wasting time on what doesn't feed your future. Now let's talk about growth. Real, lasting, transformative growth. It doesn't happen in the spotlight. It doesn't happen when you're busy trying to show the world who you are. It happens in silence, in solitude, in the quiet grind that nobody sees. Growth is personal. It's internal. It's the uncomfortable, unglamorous process of becoming who you're meant to be. And here's the thing about growth. It's not always pretty. Sometimes it looks like losing people. Sometimes it feels like walking alone. Sometimes it's crying in silence, battling self-doubt, fighting the urge to give up. But every moment you choose to keep going anyway, you're growing. You're stretching. You're evolving. You don't need to announce your growth. You don't need to announce your growth. You don't need to prove it. You just need to live it. You don't have to convince anybody that you've changed. Just move differently. Speak differently. Think differently. That's the proof. When you outgrow old habits, old patterns, old mindsets, people will notice. Even if they never say it, your life will speak for itself. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking they have to tell everyone they're doing better. But true transformation doesn't need an audience. It just needs commitment. Growth is a slow build. It's brick by brick, day by day. It's choosing to heal instead of staying hurt. It's choosing discipline over comfort. It's choosing to let go of what's familiar so you can embrace what's necessary. And sometimes growth means walking away from negativity, from unhealthy environments, from people who drain you. Not because you think you're better, but because you know you deserve better. Growth is about recognizing your worth and setting boundaries that honor it. And when you grow silently, without needing attention or validation, you become unshakable. You're not moved by criticism. You're not broken by setbacks. You've built yourself up from the inside out. It's okay if people don't see your growth right away. It's okay if they still treat you like the old version of you. They're just not caught up yet. Your job is not to convince them, it's to keep evolving. No, to keep evolving. Let your results tell the story. Let your peace reflect your progress. Let your elevation be your explanation. So while the world is talking, posting, and shouting, stay focused, stay grounded, keep growing, not for applause, not for approval, but for your purpose. Because when it's all said and done, it's not about being seen, it's about becoming. And if you stay focused and committed to your growth, everything else will fall into place quietly, powerfully, and undeniably. You don't need to tell the world you're changing. You don't need to post every step, every move, every success along the way. Because the truth is, the most powerful transformation doesn't happen in public, it happens in silence. When you stop broadcasting your every plan and start executing in private, everything changes. There's a quiet power in minding your business, keeping your head down, and letting the work speak. In a world obsessed with instant validation, staying silent while you build can feel unnatural. We're conditioned to think if no one sees it, it didn't happen. But that's a lie. Some of the most important progress you'll ever make will happen when no one is clapping, no one is watching, and no one is liking your posts. And that's exactly how it should be. Because true growth doesn't need an audience, it needs commitment. And when you let growth speak for itself, people will feel the difference in you long before they hear it. They'll notice your energy shift. They'll see your habits change. They'll watch your consistency show up in results they can't deny. And that's far more powerful than any speech or status update. Real success makes noise, not through words, but through transformation. Think about it. A tree doesn't make a sound while it's growing, but one day it's towering high, rooted deep, unshaken by storms. That's what happens when you stay silent and focused. You build something strong, something that lasts, and you don't need to shout about it. You don't need to convince anyone that you're serious about your journey. Just walk it. Just show up. Just let your discipline, your character, your results do the talking. Sometimes we waste so much time trying to be understood, trying to prove our intentions, trying to get people to believe in us. But the people who really matter, they'll see it in your actions. And the people who don't believe in you, they were never going to support you anyway. So why bother explaining yourself? Let them watch, let them wonder, let your life unfold and speak for itself. This mindset also gives you freedom. You're not trapped in a cycle of trying to impress anyone. You're not performing. You're living authentically, unapologetically. You're moving in silence. And there's power in that. It protects your energy. It protects your vision, because not everyone needs to know your next move. Not everyone should. Some people will speak doubt into your dreams before they even take form. Some people will discourage you out of their own fear. So keep your plans sacred. Let them unfold naturally. And here's what happens when you stop trying to prove yourself. You get your time back. You get your focus back. You stop explaining and you start creating. You stop arguing and you start building. You stop worrying about what they think and you start becoming who you were born to be. It's quiet, but it's powerful. Letting growth speak also teaches you patience, because not everything will happen overnight. Some things take time. Some things take seasons. But if you stay consistent day in, day out, your growth will become undeniable. People will look at you and say, if something's different, they won't always be able to name it, but they'll feel it. And that's the beauty of silent transformation. It shifts atmospheres before it ever speaks. Now, don't confuse silence with hiding. There's a difference. Hiding is based in fear. Silence is based in confidence. Hiding means you're afraid to be seen. Silence means you don't need to be seen to be valuable. You're not shrinking. You're not avoiding. You're not shrinking. You're not avoiding. You're just choosing to focus on what really matters. When you adopt this mindset, your priorities change. You stop wasting energy proving things to people who don't deserve that access. You stop chasing applause and start chasing purpose. You realize that your growth is not for show, it's for impact or results better. And the greatest impact happens when people see who you've become, not who you said you would be. There's something deeply satisfying about watching your own progress unfold, about knowing how hard you've worked, how much you've sacrificed, how many times you could have given up, but didn't. And doing it without needing a round of applause. That's when you know you've grown. That's when you know the roots are deep, because your motivation is coming from within, not from the crowd. And here's another truth. Not everyone deserves to witness your transformation. Some people lost the privilege to be part of your process when they doubted you, belittled you, or left you in your low seasons. Don't invite them into your breakthrough just to prove a point. Let your life be the lesson. Let your elevation speak volumes. You owe no one an explanation. You owe yourself the discipline to keep going. The world doesn't need another loud dreamer. It needs quiet doers. People who don't just talk about change, but live it. People who don't just post motivation, but walk it daily. People who don't just plan success, but show up for it consistently without needing validation every step of the way. Letting your growth speak is about trusting the process. Trusting that the seeds you plant today will bloom, even if no one claps when you put them in the ground. Trusting that what's done in silence will one day shine in its own time. Trusting that you don't need to rush, you don't need to explain, you just need to stay committed. You want respect? Stay silent and let your results speak. You want peace? Stay focused and let your actions talk. You want to change your life? Then stop talking about it and be about it. Because when your growth is real, it can't be hidden. When your change is deep, it can't be faked. And when your journey is authentic, it doesn't need an audience. It creates impact just by existing. So the next time you feel the urge to prove yourself, pause, remember what you're building, remember who you're becoming, and remember this: the loudest thing in the room doesn't always win. Sometimes the quietest one is the most dangerous because they're not distracted by the noise. They're focused, they're growing, they're rising. And when they speak, it's not empty words, it's lived truth. Let your growth speak, and it will say more than you ever could. Protecting your peace is one of the most valuable things you can ever do for yourself. In a world full of chaos, pressure, noise, and negativity, peace becomes a rare treasure. It's not just about being calm, it's about being in control. It's about knowing who and what is worth your energy and what isn't. And the older you get, the more you grow, the more you realize how expensive your peace really is. You learn that you can't afford to give it away cheaply to things that don't serve you, people who drain you, or situations that pull you off track. Peace doesn't mean everything around you is perfect. It means you've made the decision not to let the imperfection around you get inside of you. It means you've chosen to be grounded in your purpose, in your values, and in your vision, no matter what's happening externally. There will always be drama out there. There will always be people who don't like you, misunderstand you, or want to pull you into their chaos. But peace is about choosing not to participate. It's about standing in your power and saying, I'm not going to let this disturb me. One of the ways you protect your peace is by learning the art of not responding. Not everything deserves your words. Not everything deserves your words. Not everything requires a reaction. The moment you learn that silence can be stronger than any comeback, you start to free yourself. You stop arguing with people who are committed to missing the point. You stop trying to fix things that don't want to be fixed. You stop giving emotional energy to things that are beneath your things, that are beneath your purpose. When you protect your peace, you start setting boundaries, not because you're cold or mean, but because you've grown. You understand that peace needs protection. That means not letting just anyone into your space. Not every phone call needs to be answered. Not every invitation needs to be accepted. Not every relationship needs to be continued. Sometimes peace requires walking away from toxic conversations, from unhealthy habits, from anything that costs more than it gives. Protecting your peace also means protecting your mind. What you watch, what you listen to, what you consume daily, it all affects your energy. If you're constantly feeding your mind negativity, chaos, and fear, your spirit won't feel at rest. You can't expect peace to grow in a garden that's constantly being poisoned. So that's why it's important to be intentional about what you allow in. Read things that lift you. Listen to things that inspire you. Surround yourself with people who speak life into you. Not doubt, not drama, not discouragement. Another major part of protecting your peace is learning to let go. Let go of the need to be understood all the time. Let go of the need to always be right. Let go of what you can't control. Peace thrives in surrender. When you accept that you can't change everything and everyone, you free yourself. You realize that peace doesn't come from controlling your environment. It comes from controlling your response to it. You can't stop the storm, but you can choose to stay centered through it. That's peace. We live in a world that glamorizes hustle, chaos, and constant movement. But sometimes peace is found in stillness, in rest, in solitude, in being okay with doing nothing, in listening to yourself, in pausing long enough to check in with your soul. You don't have to be busy to be valuable. You don't have to be constantly moving to be making progress. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is step back, breathe, and realign. Your peace matters more than your productivity. And here's the truth. Not everyone will understand your need for peace. Some people will call it selfish. Some will say you've changed, and they're right, you have, because peace will force you to evolve. It will make you choose maturity over mess, growth over gossip, healing over history, and that might make some people uncomfortable, but that's not your problem. You're not here to shrink to make others feel okay. You're here to protect your peace so you can thrive. Peace isn't just something nice to have, it's essential. It's your foundation. Without peace, your decisions are rushed, your mind is cluttered, your relationships are strained. Your creativity suffers. You can't hear clearly from God. You can't pour into others when you're empty. Peace is what keeps you grounded when life shakes. It's what reminds you who you are when everything else is trying to tell you otherwise. Sometimes protecting your peace means disappointing others. It means saying no without guilt. It means choosing rest over rushing. It means being unavailable to the chaos of people who thrive off drama. And that's okay. It's okay. Because every time you say no to something that drains you, you're saying yes to your well-being. You're saying yes to your mental health, your emotional clarity, your spiritual strength. And peace is powerful. It's not passive. It's intentional. It's not weakness. It's wisdom. It takes strength to stay calm in a storm. It takes maturity to walk away instead of fight. It takes faith to trust that everything doesn't need your input, your defense, or your attention. Peace knows that what's meant for you will find you, even if you're resting, even if you're silent, even if you're not out there chasing everything. Sometimes the greatest breakthroughs come when you're still, when you're surrendered, when you're at peace. You don't have to earn peace. It's your birthright, but you do have to protect it because the world won't hand it to you. You'll have to make decisions every day that guard it. Decisions that won't always be popular, but will always be worth it. Choose your peace over proving a point. Choose your peace over pleasing people. Choose your peace over participation in anything that robs you of your joy, your focus, or your purpose. So ask yourself, what is costing you peace right now? What are you holding on to that you need to release? Who or what do you need to step back from so you can breathe again? These aren't selfish questions. These are survival questions because without peace, you're just surviving, not living, and you deserve more than that. Make peace your priority. Protect it with your time, your energy, your choices. Don't let anyone or anything disturb the calm you've worked hard to create. Because at the end of the day, peace isn't just about avoiding noise. It's about choosing yourself. It's about creating a life that feels good on the inside even if it doesn't always look perfect on the outside. Peace is your power. Guard it like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does.